Welcome to Melt. I'm Suresh Venkat. It's no secret that artificial intelligence is the talk of the town. The world over, brands are loosening purse strings for AI tools to create engaging marketing communication. And Indian brands are stepping into the field as well. Case in point, Mondelēz India, that turned to AI for a campaign for its gifting brand Cadbury Celebrations. Named My Birthday Song, the campaign uses AI to produce a unique, personalized birthday song tailor-made for every single person. Take a look at how it works.
8 billion people, but only one happy birthday song. With the same lyrics and tune for everyone. Cadbury Celebrations presents My Birthday Song, a personalized birthday song for everyone.
Really? That's so cool!
क्या बात है यार?
Helping you gift for every birthday more than just chocolates. We used 4 generative AI tools to generate happy birthday song. Log into myhappybirthdaySong.com. Tell us why the person is special. Generate personalized lyrics. Choose a tune.
Happy birthday, Smita.
Choose a singer and gift a special personalized happy birthday song.
ये सिर्फ आपके लिए। Happy birthday टिंटू जी, happy birthday
Rachel, the listener with a happy birthday, may they uplift you.
We care. Happy birthday, Amir, Mary, happy birthday, Tanu, your day.
टिंकू भाई आज पार्टी है, आज तेरी बर्थडे पार्टी है।
To know more, we are in conversation with Nitin Saini, Vice President Marketing at Mondelēz India. How does one evaluate the success of such a campaign? Does it drive sales? And what is the impact on brand scores? Let's find out as we get ready to melt with Nitin Saini. Nitin, welcome to Melt.
Thank you, Suresh.
Let's dive into the question. Your latest campaign, #MyBirthdaySong. What was the insight that kickstarted this idea?
So, Suresh, if you look at the objective of this campaign, it's really to build relevance for Cadbury Celebrations in the occasion of birthday gifting. And as we were doing our work around this, as we were doing some consumer learning around this, one of the things we noticed was that both the gifter as well as the giftee are looking to elevate the moment of birthday gifting. So from a gifter standpoint, she wants to make it more special, put in some more effort. But equally from a giftee standpoint, she wants to feel more special about this moment. So we saw this as an opportunity to elevate that moment, make it more special. And that is really the insight that we have used behind this activation.
Now, birthdays are an all-round phenomenon. Every day it's somebody's birthday. So in that sense, there's no seasonality to this campaign. So do you plan to keep this campaign running through the year?
Yes. So we are launching it now in July. And then, as you know, celebration, has a big role to play in gifting in Rakhi and Diwali. But then after that, immediately after that, we'll come back again with our campaign on birthday gifting. So we see this as actually as an all year round campaign.
So what makes July, or this time of the year, it's monsoon in the city of Mumbai and all over India. What makes this a good time to launch this campaign?
Well, as you said, birthday gifting is relevant all months of the year. Correct. So we wanted to do it before we get into the festive season. So before we get into Rakhi and Diwali. So we are introducing it now. Then we'll bring it back in after Diwali in January. And then our plan is to get behind it for the next 2 or 3 years, because we really feel that this is a big occasion. And what we are really trying to do with this campaign is to extend relevance of Cadbury Celebrations beyond Rakhi and Diwali to another occasion. And we feel that birthday gifting is actually just that occasion we can get after.
A campaign like this that is potentially perennial, Nitin, how do you evaluate it over time? You can evaluate the idea, you can evaluate the immediate impact, but if this campaign runs perennially, how do you sort of evaluate that?
Yeah, sure. So I think there are a couple of ways in which we'll evaluate the success of this campaign. Firstly, we would see whether we are building relevance for celebrations in the first place, in the occasion of birthday gifting. So we would be able to do that through our brand tracks and see if there is an increase in consideration for Cadbury celebration in that occasion. The other thing, Suresh, that we will look at is our sales and how is that tracking. Right now, 70% of our sales happen in Rakhi and Diwali, and only 30% happens outside of Rakhi and Diwali. If over a period of time we see the 30% going up, we do know that we are moving the needle as far as building relevance outside of Rakhi and Diwali is concerned. So we would look at consumer track, we look at sales data to know how are we doing on this campaign.
Okay, so then here's the question. A campaign like this, is it directly aimed at promoting sales? Because to me, it seems like a brand building campaign, a feel good campaign, a generosity campaign. How does a campaign like this drive actual sales?
So I think for us, the two are inextricably linked. The way we have been able to grow the category, grow the brand in India is really to build brand love, build brand equity. And that is exactly what we are trying to do with this campaign. We want to build relevance for celebrations in the occasion of birthday gifting, and that will translate into people actually buying it to gift it. And over a period of time, as I said, we would see an increase in sales outside of Rakhi and Diwali. That is what we are kind of really going to be looking at.
So on one hand, you work in a category that perhaps is a highly impulsive purchase. You go to the store, you feel like picking it up, you pick it up. On the other hand, you're saying 70% of your sales comes around Rakhi and Diwali and 30%. What kind of challenge does this present for a marketer to create more gifting occasions, to create more occasions for sweets, for chocolates, for consideration? As a marketer, what does it present you as an opportunity?
You're absolutely right. I think as far as celebrations is concerned, which is really plays in the gifting occasion, for us, the opportunity is very clear. We have done a really good job of building Rakhi and Diwali as two big occasions for us. And for us, it was so clear that what we need to do next is to build another occasion. And we looked at several such potential occasions, if you like. And then we finally concluded that birthday gifting is actually a great occasion for us to go after when it comes to gifting. You talked about impulse. I think in case of gifting, actually there is people are looking to personalize the experience and what they can offer to the giftee. So that is another insight that we have used as far as this activation is concerned.
So I want to give somebody a gift and I want to make it personal, and that insight drives this birthday campaign.
Correct.
A campaign like this, do you need to justify to management, for instance, that it's not directly linked to sales? It's like I said, a feel-good brand building activity? Or is it an understanding at Mondelēz that all campaigns are sales driven?
I think it's very, very well embedded now in Mondelēz that the way to really build the business is to build strong emotional connection with our consumers, and brand building really plays an important role in that. So we don't need to do too much of a heavy lifting selling job there. I think everyone is well embedded with that idea.
Now let's talk about technology. This campaign as well is fundamentally integrated with the use of technology. Is this a shift in Mondelēz that tech will be the center of marketing thinking?
I think if you see, some of our own initiatives we have done in the last 2-3 years where we have been able to use tech in an interesting way has done really, really well. One of the recent example is not just a Cadbury ad, which also won a Grand Prix. And our thinking really is that what we really need to start with is a very clear brand purpose. I think that is very important. And then we need to have a great idea. But then technology can play a really important role in bringing that idea to life in a very interesting, exciting way. So again, like for example, this particular activation, we are using generative AI to not just therefore the gifter is not just giving a box of celebrations, but it's also giving a personalized birthday song, right? Which is really at the heart of this idea.
So Nitin, this campaign has a strong technology component, a creative component, and a media component. Tell us a little bit about who your partners were in this campaign.
Absolutely. So Ogilvy and Wavemaker very much played a central role in building this campaign. And then on the technology side, we had Uberdug and GAN Studio.
As part of this campaign, you're going to collect a lot of user data. People are going to upload facts about their friends, their favorite musical styles, all sorts of data. How are you going to use this data?
I think for us, we would, the way we look at data is how can it help us reach people in a more meaningful, more personalized way? Because as I said in a little bit earlier, that reaching people in a personalized way can really make that much more impact. So I think that is the lens we will use. as far as data is concerned.
And hyper-personalization in an impulse category, is this a good fit, this kind of?
Yeah, we have seen that personalization is actually a great device across categories. In this particular case, because it is gifting, it plays an even bigger role. So, we feel that there can be nothing better than a box of Cadbury chocolate and a personalized birthday song. Like that is just what you want to make that birthday moment more special, elevate that moment, which was really the insight behind this campaign and this activation on how can that moment be more elevated. And I think this combination of a box of Cadbury chocolate and the personalized birthday song will just do the magic.
Another question about tech. When do you decide that it's the right time to leverage a new technology, whether it's generative AI, whether it's what you did with Shah Rukh Khan? Sometimes you can be too far ahead. You can be too ahead of the curve and you can use technology before people are ready. And sometimes you can be too late. Everybody else has already done it before you. What's the sweet spot when you decide to peg the campaign on a new technology or use a new technology to give tailwind to the idea?
That's a great question. I think for us, we would want to be the first to do it.
The first mover advantage is better?
I think it just like, we want to be brave. We want to just be out there. I think even in this particular case, while generative AI is around, the technology we are using to create that personalized birthday song is not off the shelf. It has been developed and created along with our tech partners.
And from all the data that you gather, give us a sense of how Mondelēz mines these data. How do you analyze this data and what are the kind of insights that you draw from this data?
So again, we look at behavior on what are people considering, what are people buying, and we again use that data, as I said, to create more personalized experiences for people, something which is more relevant to them. So that is really the way in which we use data.
How do you approach media mix for a campaign like this?
So we would look at, of course, we work on this along with Wavemaker, who is our media partner. We would have a certain reach number in mind, depending upon who our target audience is. So that is how the process starts. Currently, our media mix would include both TV and digital because we feel that both, have a role to play. And then after that, it comes to what are the exact platforms that we would invest into. But we would look at it as a multimedia campaign, which is encompassing multiple media touchpoints.
And what role does traditional TV continue to play in your media mix? How do you see traditional TV?
It plays an important role because if you look today, TV is still the highest reach medium. There are certain programs that people only like to watch on TV. So it plays a very important role. Having said that, digital is becoming important, every day. So we would have a mix of TV and digital both. So traditional media as well as digital are very much part of our campaign planning.
What about newer forms of media? Gaming, for instance, a lot of your audience is likely to be there. How do you sort of engage with these newer forms of, if you can call them media?
It depends upon what's our objective behind a particular campaign. So, for instance, in case of birthday gifting, I may not be as much on a gaming platform, but for another brand where the audience has gaming as their passion point, we would look at gaming platforms as a key part of our media strategy. In case of birthday gifting, I don't think gaming platforms will play that important a role.
Does Cadbury Celebrations have a competitor in the country?
So Cadbury Celebrations, we obviously look at anything that can be gifted in that moment of birthday gifting, as a competitor. But we are happy. I think we can make this occasion bigger. All of us put together can make the occasion much bigger.
So the rise of all these smaller chocolate startups, shall we say, we see dozens of them on the store shelves. That's not a cause for concern that people might compare chocolate to chocolate and say that here's my competitor to picking up a pack of Celebrations.
No, we are not. We welcome competition. We are not concerned by competition. I think as far as chocolate gifting is concerned, it can play in a much bigger space. For us, anything that can be gifted in a Rakhi or a Diwali or in the moment of birthday gifting, we are fighting against that. But as I said, I think in this country, there is a big opportunity over there. So we would always welcome competition.
Tell us a little bit about how you work with creative partners. You spoke about Ogilvy and Wavemaker.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the interaction between the in-house marketing team and the agencies.
So we have a very strong relationship, Suresh, with both our creative as well as media partners. In fact, we keep saying that one of the reasons for success for Mondelēz India marketing is the ecosystem that we have been able to create. and that ecosystem includes Ogilvy and Wavemaker. In fact, I say that sometimes in a room when you have all three, it's not easy to make out who is who. That is how well integrated this ecosystem is, and we work very well with each other. We challenge each other when needed. We build on each other, and you can see the success of that. Like, we won FEs of the year. We were the client of the year at FEs. We were client of the year at MVs, and we recently won 4 medals at Cannes, including Grand Prix. So the success is for all to see. But the reason is, and the driving force is not Mondelēz alone, but it is the ecosystem and with the partners that we have that has been able to create this.
For a campaign like this one, do you necessarily have to write a brief and give it to Ogilvy? Or do people at Ogilvy come up with a great idea and say, there's no brief, but here's a campaign idea? Does it work symbiotically both ways like that?
No, it starts with a brief, for sure. So, the brand team along with the planning team at the creative agency, they co-create the brief. And then it gets passed on to the creative team. So, for instance, in this case, the brief was very clearly about building relevance for celebrations in birthday gifting. So, it starts from there. A few insights were already generated even before it went to creative, like the one I said at the top. And then after that, then creative adds their magic. Wavemaker at the media agency adds their magic, and then we bring the tech partners at the right time. So that is how the process flows.
And what does it take to become client of the year? For all the marketers watching this show who'd like to win that award, so what does it take to be client of the year?
That's a great question. I would say, I think a few things. Firstly, I think what we really invest in is having very clear purpose for our brands. And once you have a very clear purpose, it does give tailwind to great creative ideas, like how we have seen in case of Celebrations and Cadbury Dairy Milk. So that is an area where we invest a lot of time and effort on. And the second thing I would say is what we just spoke about, which is to have a great ecosystem. We have long relationship with Ogilvy, Wavemaker, and some of our other partners, and that has built a lot of trust. And we are able to take creative leaps when it comes to creative ideas. We also want to be the first to try out new things. So when it comes to technology, an example being what we did with not just a Cadbury ad and what we are trying to achieve with this particular campaign. So we want to be out there. We want to try out new things. So I would say a combination of this is, what helps us be out there.
When you're constantly trying out new things and you're first in the market, you're going to get it wrong some of the time. So what is the internal Mondelēz attitude towards failure? For instance, how do you deal with failure in your team?
So we don't look at failure as failure. We look at failure as a learning process. And we want to learn out of it, and we want to improve the
failures
next time
cost money, and somebody spent money, and if an idea fails, what do you do then?
So I think the way we look at test and learn is you start slow. So therefore, you are kind of limiting your losses. But equally, it's important to learn. So we have a test and learn culture in marketing at Mondelēz India, and that allows us to therefore experiment new things. And all of us are, totally inspired by that thought on being able to be out there first and try out new things. So this is again a great example of, as I said, this is not a technology we are using off the shelf. It has been developed. While it is generative AI, it's been developed specifically for this campaign with the help of those other partners to create that personalized birthday song and make the birthday gifting moment more special.
Now let's talk about how to lock into brand purpose. So clearly you've locked into the exactly correct brand purpose for this particular brand. However, if you watch an advertising award or you see advertising in general, every brand attaches itself to some purpose with the other for the sake of attaching itself to the purpose. What is the secret to getting brand purpose bang right?
I think you have to invest a lot of time in understanding how consumers interact and see the brand. It has to be authentic. It has to be grounded in how the consumers have experienced the brand over a long period of time. And when we were doing that work on Celebrations, generosity came out as an emotion that many people associated with a feeling of happiness, an emotion of generosity, of doing good, feeling good. And we immediately know that, that is just the right space for us to operate in. I think when we try and link it to an idea or an emotion that is not credible is where, sometimes brands can go wrong.
How often do you talk to actual customers? Do you go behind a store counter and try selling the chocolates? Tell us your experience when you say you listen to customers saying this. How do you listen to them?
So we do both consumer immersions as well as customer interactions. And I think that is, again, I must say, has been one of the behavior that everyone at Mondelēz India marketing has inculcated on being close to the consumers, like seeing the whites of the eyes of the consumer, really does help. We spend a lot of time in field, like even myself, just last couple of weeks I have been in Chandigarh and Delhi doing store visits. And I think it really does give insight on what is doing well and what is not doing well. Speaking and interacting with our sales team is really helpful too, to get the right feedback.
So Nitin, you manage a whole host of brands. How do you devote your time? How do you divide your time between these brands?
I must say that I don't have a mathematical formula of how I divide the time. It's just something that I love. So I think every brand is unique in its own, and I love just working and interacting with my team on each of those brands.
So no brand feels like you're giving too much time to them, and another brand doesn't feel like you're not giving enough time to them?
I would think so. You have to ask my team, but
We'll ask your team. We'll find that question and we'll post to them. Have you been playing around with AI yourself, ChatGPT and other AI tools, and how is it changing your marketer's mind?
So, I mean, this is obviously the big thing, right? Everybody is talking about generative AI. So many things one can do in the field of marketing, whether in terms of creating content. I think that if you see the way in which we are using it here is also creating content. But again, linked to an idea and linked to our brand purpose. So it goes back to the way we think about technology, which is that technology we don't start with technology. We start with a brand purpose and then an idea, and then technology comes on top, as cherry on the cake. It's that exciting, innovative way of bringing the idea to life to people. And that is how we look at it. So ever since the conversations on generative AI started, we have been looking at it very closely on how can we use the technology to make our ideas more exciting to people.
Do you see a completely generative AI-driven campaign sometime in the future, that you don't have an agency, you tell the AI the brief and the AI spits out the campaign?
And you've given me a great idea here. I think I'll take it and definitely talk with our creative and media agencies, because as I said, we want to be the first ones to do it.
Okay, Nitin, final question. What's next for the brand?
These 6 months are really exciting for Celebrations. Something tells me that I'm going to talk to you again very soon, talking about the Rakhi and Diwali activation. So it's busy and it's exciting.
And we look forward to having you back here on Melt again. Nitin, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you, Suresh. Glad to be here.
And with that, it's a wrap on this episode. You can follow Melt on social media. The handle is Ready to Melt, or simply log on to readytomelt.com. If you'd like to follow me, I'm @Suvenk on Twitter. Till next week, goodbye and thanks for watching.